In this video, we're exploring the towns around the Sea of Galilee.
Hi, I'm Troy.
And I'm Andrea, and we love adventures. Whether it's in our own backyard or on the other side of the globe, we're always looking for something to do. We love to ride bikes, we do bike reviews, foodie adventures, all kinds of stuff. We just love to have fun. And in this series of videos, we want to take you along on a big adventure. We are in Israel and Rome for 2 weeks, and we are so excited and can't wait to take you along. Troy and Andrea here, and we are in the city of Capernaum. We are on the Sea of Galilee, and we have been going all around today. It's stopping in different spots on the Sea of Galilee. It has been a wonderful day.
Yes, we started out by going to Mt Arbel, the highest point around the Sea of Galilee, and that was so much fun. We're just enjoying these views of Mt Arbel. This is the backside now, looking back into this valley, this cutaway. This is one of the prominent outcroppings on the Sea of Galilee, and we're really looking forward to going and visiting some of the other places, some of the historic sites like Capernaum and Magdala around the sea. What's your thoughts?
It is amazing. It still keeps blowing me away, all the different kind of terrain around Israel that we've traveled. This is beautiful. We don't know exactly where Jesus delivered the Sermon on the Mount, but this is a very, very likely candidate. And you know, our friends that are here, they said they did some mountain testing where they echoed back and forth, sound testing, and very likely place that this is where it happened. It was very moving this morning. We did a reading up there at the top. It was wonderful.
So after exploring Mt Arbel and the beautiful sights that we could see there, we drove down to the ancient city of Magdala, where we saw an old synagogue as well as some excavations. I'm standing in front of an ancient synagogue, and this is the synagogue that is located at Magdala, and it is believed that of the many synagogues that you read about in the Bible, what Jesus went in and was teaching, there's several places where it talks about how he says a reading is fulfilled within your hearing. It's very possible that Jesus stepped in this very synagogue right here along the shores of the Sea of Galilee. Just a few yards that way is Galilee. And here we are in front of this incredible site that's been preserved by a hotel being built around this, the Magdala Hotel, which is what a great idea to bring in tourists and all. And so what a wonderful, exciting place to be. here's something that I find just so incredibly fascinating. That's just one of the things that I really get excited about whenever I see it. And that is these old mosaic tile floors. And so the way that I just imagine somebody, a laborer, sitting there and painstakingly putting this together, laying out those patterns and everything. And then for many, many years, people would come into this synagogue, they would walk up on this floor, these edges around here where people would sit and listen to the person reading and praying, leading them in prayer, all the different things that were happening, the speeches that would take place and all the different happenings within a synagogue. Walking right there on that ancient floor. We saw some of these in Bet Shan, in Scythopolis. We saw some of these in Tel Shiloh. But here, this is a first century one. Some of the other ones we've seen were from the Byzantine period, the time after the destruction of Jerusalem. This one right here, can you imagine Jesus Christ or the early disciples, maybe Paul the Apostle, coming and visiting this synagogue, and perhaps, who knows, came and sat right over here in this corner, and Jesus, for example, saying, and today this has been fulfilled in your hearing. Pretty emotional, pretty exciting, pretty cool to see.
From Magdala, we hit the high point of the day, and that was a boat ride on the Sea of Galilee.
We're continuing our tour around Lake Galilee. We went first up on Mt Arbel, then we came down to Magdala and saw that ancient synagogue, and now here we are out on the Sea of Galilee. We're on just a boat. This is a modern, as the guy keeps saying, a modern boat. It's obviously not an ancient boat, but we're out on just this kind of barge type boat, being able to go out on the water, the Sea of Galilee. So emotional. We're going to be having a devotional here in a few moments, which is going to be a lot of fun. How you feeling about it so far?
It's pretty cool. You know, we're following in the footsteps of Jesus. Of course, we're on a boat in the Sea of Galilee. He did it by foot.
Good point. Good point.
But he also did by boat. So this is fine.
But it's something in it to think that out here, you know, whenever there's, so a lot of people may not know this, but you know, it's a large lake. I mean, it's called the sea. But these mountains around it, there's these winds that can come down and create just massive waves. Everything can become very unstable, and I mean the lake is 120, 140 feet deep in some areas, and so you don't want to fall out of a boat. And so to think that the disciples are out here, it's a ways to either shore, and you can imagine when Jesus stood up and calmed the seas, and how amazing that must have been. So but here we are. It's a beautiful morning. It's nice and smooth water. We're just enjoying it.
Let's see what we can catch. It's the same technique like Peter, but the net from China, so I don't know if we can. Fishy, fishy, fishy. Come, come, come. Let's try on the other side.
So I'm back here with my friend John and our guide on this Bible Land Passages out here on the Sea of Galilee. I know this is one of John's favorite places in all the world to be, isn't it? Yeah. I can just see it in your eyes, and I wish you could see the excitement and the passion this man has in just teaching and showing us all these places. But what are you thinking? What you feeling now, brother?
Well, when you come out here, this is one of those areas that has remained unchanged, and it's so great because there hasn't been a lot of modern development around it, and it's one of the reasons it's our favorite place, because you really get a feel of what it was like 2,000 years ago.
Yes.
And just the size of this lake, to understand what took place here, Jesus walking on the water, all the ministry of Jesus, calming the storm, the lessons he taught around this area, it just has a huge impact on you emotionally.
Absolutely.
It also helps you to understand the Bible that much better.
Absolutely. Well, we sure are enjoying our time. We've been with you now several days, and it's just been amazing. You're wearing us out, though.
We want you to get your money's worth. But you know what? I mean, a lot of people only get to come here one time.
That's
so
right.
We want them to see as much as they can, and not just experience the church buildings. It's all about understanding the geography, the topography, and all of everything that happens here. Just so that the main thing, so that we can draw people closer to God. That's what we.
That's right. That's right. Well, we certainly have. We appreciate you very much, brother.
I appreciate you guys. Yeah, love having you here. It's
been good. Been good to be here. Yet another fascinating stop that we just made here near Magdala, just a little bit down the road. We went on a boat ride out on the Sea of Galilee, and then we come inside this museum, and we see the remains, or what was a discovery, of a 2,000-year-old fishing boat. These two brothers were walking alongside the Sea of Galilee. They found a little nail, and then they began digging around, and they realized it was wood, and they had all of this that they discovered. Is a fascinating story. Around 1986, these archaeologists came in. They spent a lot of time working with the boat, and they used polyurethane, this foam, to be able to lift it up and then float it on the Sea of Galilee to bring it here to this museum. Just incredible to look back at a piece of history that goes back that far. Then after we had a wonderful time out on the Sea of Galilee, we drove up the mountain to Chorazin. That's an ancient city that Jesus cursed, and it was fascinating. Chorazin, this is an ancient mikvah. Now this mikvah would be inside this home, or this place. It'd be covered over, and a lot of these mikvahs were ceremonial cleansing places. As you can see, there's some stairs that go down into that. There's still water down in the mikvah, and so it's really interesting and cool to see this. In fact, our guide says that this is one of the indicators that this was a Jewish fishing village. Okay, once again, I'm getting to do something that I absolutely have fallen in love with here in our tour of Israel, and that is to go check out these old ruins. I just find this so fascinating. I find it fascinating because imagine somebody had to take these stones and build these, and then people lived here. And just imagine all the families that gathered in this area, where a father would be greeting his son, or children playing, or mother feeding her child, or all kinds of things that took place in this city. That this is a place where people lived. And so I just love exploring places like this and seeing all the different things there's to see. Like, imagine just coming down through and going through a stone doorway. I mean, imagine now you're either in a storeroom, maybe somebody's living room or something, as you make your way through different places, walking through. I just love this. I just find it so fascinating to look around and imagine what took place right here in these people's lives. Have an ancient olive press. You have the millstone that's in there that's angled, and you can see how you would take a piece of wood and it would go around in this circle. You put your olives down in there and it would crush those olives and then come out one of these small edges here where they would collect the oil. Just amazing to see something like this in such great condition. We're talking 2,000 years old, easy.
From Chorazin, we drove down here to Capernaum. That's where we are now, and we're trying to wrap up our day.
So I'm standing in front of the ancient city of Capernaum, the city of Jesus, the city where he made his central area of ministry. This place is mentioned many times in the Bible, and so we can imagine with Jesus coming in and out of this place. And back over my shoulder here, off to the side, is an ancient synagogue. We'll go in there in just a second, but just so amazing to see all of this archaeological preservation that has taken place here, where they're maintaining these sites where you can come and see them today. And also over here to this side, this alien looking building is supposedly the remains of Peter's house, and we'll go check that out too. So this site you're seeing behind me here is unique for two different reasons. One is that this is claimed to be Peter's home. Peter the fisherman that you read about in Scripture. Peter, that his mother-in-law was sick and Jesus came to his home and healed his mother-in-law, which means Jesus would have came here if this is indeed Peter's home. And there was a Byzantine church that was built upon this spot. Now you need to understand that, you know, up in this area in Capernaum, there wasn't a whole lot of activity like there is in Jerusalem, where you have all kinds of activity and all kinds of things happening. And so to hand down the tradition of where Peter's home probably was probably still pretty fresh in the minds of the people of Capernaum, even 200 or 300 years after the fact. Just like you think about in your own hometown, you know about history in your place. And so I'm sure that the Byzantines that built that church in that time, I should say, they're probably pretty certain that this is indeed Peter's home, and the archaeology is pretty good for it as well. The second most fascinating thing about this site is that, as you can see, there is a structure on top of it, and this is a church, a Catholic church, I believe, that is built here, and it's very strange in the fact that it is cantilevered, or suspended, I guess would be more the right word. You got these columns over here, and then you see how it is suspended over Peter's home. Very interesting, kind of weird, strange design to think that we're going to build a church literally over an ancient site but not disturb the site. I find that so fascinating. And so you can go up inside here in this church, and there's where they have mass, and there's a place or an altar and all that. And so very fascinating for two aspects: the fact that it's Peter's home, if that is indeed the case, and then this church that is suspended on top of it.
Wow, what an amazing day. We have seen so much of the Sea of Galilee. We've been driving all the way around it. We've stopped in so many different places. This is our final stop on the sea. We are in the town of Capernaum. Jesus lived here, did so many miracles here. We're right on the Sea of Galilee. We got the water behind us just slapping up along the shore. We got whitecaps behind us. It is amazing.
So now we're wrapping up our day here on the shore of Galilee, and it's just been an absolutely wonderful, wonderful day. And so we thank you so much for joining Andrea and me on another one of our big adventures.